The Egypt air crash is turning into a criminal whodunit. CBS News is in Egypt tonight, digging into the background of the cockpit crew. A killer at age 11, he was convicted today as an adult and could get life. The Federal Reserve raises interest rates one more time. And countdown to 2000. Tonight we take you inside the high-tech home of tomorrow.
This is the CBS Evening News. With Dan Rather reporting from CBS News headquarters in New York.
Good evening. The National Transportation Safety Board is about to transfer the case of Egypt Air 990 to the FBI to conduct a criminal investigation. Concerns raised by the Egyptian government are holding up the official announcement, at least for now. And there's a new mystery. It is unclear who was actually sitting in the co-pilot's seat in the final moments of the flight. CBS's Bob Orr has late information. Bob?
Well, Dan, sources tell us tonight the transfer of the investigation is on hold for a while because of diplomatic tangles. Egyptian authorities apparently have raised concerns about putting the FBI in charge of what then would become a criminal investigation.
Possible evidence of a crime was captured on the jet's voice recorder. A cryptic comment from one of the pilots made just before the jet plunged into a fatal dive. Sources say a voice believed to be that of the co-pilot can be heard on the tape saying a prayer. Words to the effect of, "I have made my decision. I put my fate in God's hands." But interpreters can't agree on what that means. Some see it as benign, part of a daily prayer routine. Others suggest it was a deliberate prelude to the crash that followed. Officials believe the co-pilot was alone in the cockpit at the time, but there's yet another mystery. Investigators are not entirely certain who was in the co-pilot's seat. Egypt Air says it should have been Adel Anwar, but sources say those who've reviewed the tape believe they hear the voice of Gamil El Batouti, the co-pilot scheduled to fly the second half of the New York to Cairo trip. Whoever said the prayer, the timing is troublesome. Just afterwards, the jet began a steep, high-speed dive. The recording then picked up what sounds like the captain returning to the cockpit. He urges the co-pilot to pull with me, a command directed at trying to save the plane. Instead, the flight data recorder suggests the pilots may have worked against each other. The elevators on the tail, used to move the jet up and down, split in opposite directions, perhaps a subtle sign of a cockpit struggle.
We are getting late word tonight that the transfer may be delayed as late as Friday to satisfy all concerned, but all sources tell us they still expect the transfer to take place. Also, it's important to remember investigators have not reached any final conclusions, but they strongly suspect the crash was caused by the deliberate actions of one of the co-pilots. Administration officials say it's most likely he acted alone, because to this point there is no evidence pointing to a broader plot, and no evidence so far of terrorism. Dan?
Bob Orr. An editor's note for accuracy and to guard against conclusion jumping, it should be emphasized no criminal behavior has been proven and that the basis for suspecting criminal involvement is so far, by any objective analysis, still thin. And as federal investigators are focusing on the background of one of the co-pilots on board, so is CBS News. CBS's Mark Phillips has been tracking this part of the story.
In Cairo today, the family of one of the Egypt Air co-pilots who was aboard Flight 990